Hello ladies and gentlemen, you're watching NDTV. Modi government's decision to announce caste enumeration as part of its upcoming census has led to a credit war between the Congress and the BJP, and also to larger questions on how such an exercise and all political parties in agreement with this idea can change the politics of this country. Today we will explore the fault lines, the credit wars and far-reaching consequences of conducting a caste census on Indian politics, representation and also India's social fabric, amongst other aspects. That is what we will do tonight. We will also be getting you stakeholders, experts and also political voices. But before that, let's take a look at some reactions.
Caste in our social system, caste is a reality. We can't forget the caste. In order to bring about a change in the society, in order to bring about an equality in the society, in order to eradicate the caste system in the society, we have to conduct socio-economic and educational survey.
नेहरू जी जातिगत आरक्षण के कट्टर विरोधी थे। ये विरोध केवल बयानों में सीमित नहीं था। उन्होंने उन दिनों में राज्यों के मुख्यमंत्री को पत्र लिख के कहा था, गुणवत्ता घट जाएगी अगर जाति आधारित अवसर मिलेगा। सिस्टम किसके हाथ में था? काका कालेलकर कमेटी की रिपोर्ट को लंबे समय तक या बिल्कुल सामने नहीं ले आने का निर्णय किसने किया था? तब भी जो फास्ट फैमिली आज घमंड से भरा हुआ अहंकार की बात कहता है, उन्हीं के हाथ में सिस्टम था। उनकी दादी तब की प्रधानमंत्री स्वर्गीय इंदिरा गांधी जी के हाथ में कमान थी। श्री राजीव गांधी जी की क्या बयान था? लंबे समय पानी पी पी के उन्होंने ओबीसी रिजर्वेशन के खिलाफ भाषण दिए हैं। सिस्टम किसके हाथ में था तब?
Well, we have a special guest joining us now, Civil Aviation Minister, also TDP MP Ram Mohan Naidu joins us. Thank you, Mr. Naidu, for your time on NDTV. Before we go to caste census, tomorrow is a very important day for you. Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, will lay the foundation of several developmental works in Amravati, and he will officially relaunch the construction work in the capital city. This is clearly an important day, an emotional day for the TDP and a big day for people of Andhra, because Chandrababu Naidu, Chief Minister of Andhra, has said that this is about Telugu pride. This has been a dream for him. Tell us, what can we expect tomorrow and also in the coming days?
Absolutely, Vasudha. It is in fact a historic day, not only for Telugu Desam Party or NDA, but in fact the 5 crore people of Andhra Pradesh who have been waiting for this day for a long time. In fact, if you look at our results in 2024, the NDA has got a strike rate of 94%, because one of the topmost assurances from our side has been that we are going to build a world-class capital city in Amaravati once we come to power. And we respect the mandate that we got, and we are going ahead building a world-class capital. And that has been the vision of our Chief Minister Nara Chandrababu Naidu Garu once he took over the Chief Ministership in 2014. And we actually started the work at that time, and our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji came for the foundation stone laying. And we started the works, and a lot of the infrastructure, the core infrastructure like the roads and the pipelines, the drains, electricity, all these works were under halfway. But what happened, interestingly, a strange thing that happened after 2019 was that YSR Congress, Jagan Mohan Reddy, after becoming the Chief Minister, he abandoned the idea of Amravati as a capital and somehow started the propaganda of 3 capitals. And he has got complete 5 years to do what he said. But at the end of the 5th year, we saw that none of the capitals were built. None of the assurances that he has been telling the people have been lived up to. So the people have entrusted us to build the capital. And now we are very thankful to the central government and especially Narendra Modi ji for providing all the necessary support. It is not just a city which is catering for the dreams of the state of Andhra Pradesh, but we believe the kind of vision Amaravati has, it is going to be a world-class city. So it's going to be a great asset for the country also to showcase tomorrow. And it is with that thought process that we are building it. And this is a true sense of cooperative federalism that we are showing here. The center coming in, the state living up to its assurances, trying to build this world-class capital. So in fact, it is a very emotional day, and we are very much happy that it is happening tomorrow, and Prime Minister himself is coming in again to oversee these works.
Absolutely. Even the Prime Minister spoke about the airport there, saying that this is going to be a great milestone for connectivity. Mr. Naidu, you know, the state government in Andhra Pradesh has also been launching campaigns to attract global investors to Amravati to give it the push that it needs. But, you know, at the same time, you have the YSRCP calling it an elitist project. How are you looking at Amravati becoming beneficial for the entire state?
Now, the idea has Amravati has been to not only cater for that specific region or to a specific community or a specific set of people, but like I said, it is going to be an asset for the entire country, and especially for Andhra Pradesh, in a way that the way the Amravati is going to be built, it is going to create brand Andhra Pradesh for the investors to come in and have a confidence in the state itself. The kind of projects that we want to do in the capital city creates a necessary the goodwill, the confidence that the investors need. They need the government to be very proactive. They need the government to be having ease of doing business, the speed of doing business. So what is it that we can showcase it? So that we are keeping it as the Amravati, where we can showcase what the potential of Andhra Pradesh is. And when it comes to these remarks that YCP has been doing, this has been their game plan right from the day one itself. And I have to put some stats also. The people who have donated, especially the farmers who have donated their land in land pooling for the Amravati capital, up to 30,000 people have donated, and 33,000 acres they have donated for building up the capital. And these are not elitists. These are not exclusive people that have donated. These are all people from farmer background, lower middle class, labor class, that they had the dream that if a capital comes up, it is going to give a big boost for the job creation and economic activity for the entire state. It is with such great futuristic mindset that they have donated. So it is just humiliating and insulting the farmers and the people who have donated the land. This is what Jagan has been doing from day one itself. And we are very clear with the motto of Andhra Pradesh and the Amravati that it is going to cater for each and everyone in the state. So the capital is going to create a lot of jobs, especially if you see right now, we are spending up to 50,000 crores for the capital expenditure into the works. And who is going to benefit with the jobs? You're going to have construction jobs, you're going to have jobs related to electricity, you're going to have jobs related to IT. So all these things are going to be advantageous for lower middle class and all the people who are aggressively looking to find a job. So it is not just an elitist capital, it is a people's capital, and that has been our vision from day one itself, and we are going to live up to it. And I would like to invite all of you also to come over and see how beautiful Amravati is going to come up in the future.
Absolutely, Mr. Naidu, all the best. But, you know, moving on to other issues, how do you look at the recent announcement by the union government yesterday to enumerate caste in the upcoming census? Because data is key here. Chandrababu Naidu is a man of data himself. You know, so how are you looking at this announcement? Because you're the most important constituent of the NDA with 16 MPs. How aligned are you with the BJP on caste census, and how do you see this impacting the lives of people in Andhra?
We are totally aligned with the decision. In fact, we are very, very happy that the center has announced the caste-based census also. And we would like to thank the central government on behalf of the state of Andhra Pradesh and our government and Chandrababu Naidu Garu also, and especially Prime Minister for taking a revolutionary decision. And this has been a long pending decision. Many governments which were there before have been doing many different kinds of debates and discussions on this, but nobody had the guts to say that we are going to do caste census. And this has been only possible with our Prime Minister's decision, Narendra Modi ji's decision to go ahead with it. And like you have said, Chandrababu Naidu ji, always the kind of vision that he has, he always backed it up with proper analysis, statistics and data-driven approaches. And he always wanted to have good governance into picture, accountable and transparent governance into picture. And if you look at the ideology of TDP also since its beginning, from the inception of Nandamuri Taraka Ramarao Garu bringing in the party, we always wanted to do innovative programs which were reaching out to these backward classes and lower classes like the SCs, STs, minorities. And how do you reach out to them? Is to have a data-driven process where you exactly know what the target group is and how they are affected. So we have always considered the programs which were socially, economically, and politically empowering the backward classes, and we believe this caste census is going to be a great weapon for us to give good governance and to reach to that beneficiary who is long been not satisfied with the way the programs have been done. And especially if you look at Andhra and our chief minister here also run the skill census also, which is very much similar to what caste census talks about. And also we are doing a program where every household has to come up with one entrepreneur. We are talking about one family, one entrepreneur program. And we are also talking about P4, which is public, people, private partnership. So we had PPP, we are talking about PPP, PNP. So P4 projects. So all these kind of projects, the innovation that we want to do in the future in terms of governance, the more data that you have, the more scientifically you can target the groups that you want to reach. I think the governance is only going to go better. And in fact, we have been it has been a long pending demand for our side. Wherever the platform came up, we have been talking and advising that we need to do caste census for a long time. In fact, I remember in the last 5 years in the parliament, I've spoken about it in the parliament. I've written letters from our party side to get this done in the parliament also.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Naidu, for speaking to us, and also all the best for tomorrow. Congratulations on the relaunch of Amravati, and thank you so much for your time. Also, moving on to our panel of guests now, we have Mayank Mishra, who's my colleague and also a data expert, consulting editor with NDTV. We have Caste Eliah, who's an author, and we also have Alok Bansel, who's Director, India Foundation. Thank you all of you for joining me on this broadcast. Mayank, to you first. There have been several diverse views when it comes to the caste census. Some people believe that it's just perpetuating the idea of caste, and some people firmly believe that this is our way towards a just society, a fair society. When it comes to this division in viewpoints, how do you view this, and how do you see this sort of taking shape in society now that all political parties seem to be in agreement with the idea of caste census?
See, the fear, and it has been it has been aired many times, that it will lead to it will increase the existing fault lines, and I think those fears are totally unfounded. And this is not just my gut feeling. We had a similar situation in 1990s, early 1990s, when recommendations of Mandal commissions were implemented, and there was violent protest all across the country. And some universities, especially Delhi University, some universities were epicenter of that. Now we have a benefit of hindsight of 35 years. We have seen things unfolding. And those protests, it seems, were spontaneous and extremely short-lived. They did not lead to social division. They did not increase social division. On the contrary, we have seen a big change in caste system itself, in the sense now castes represent differences, not necessarily hierarchy. So in that sense, the outcome turned out to be better than, or much better than what was feared then.
Okay.
So I think most of the apprehensions about conducting caste census, and we have had several caste census during British time, and I don't think they resulted in negative outcome.
Okay. So it's not going to be a logistical challenge, but it's also going to be something that will be data driven, and something good can come out of this. That's what
I think so.
Okay, Professor Eliah, we've all read your book, sir. I mean, what does a move like a caste census being announced by the Modi government mean for the Bahujan of this country? Because, I also want to understand what is their expectation, because this is not just about reservation, it's about representation, justice, opportunities, and access. Do you see this as a big victory for the social justice movement in this country now that all parties are on the same page when it comes to caste census?
Well, see, the whole problem in implementing the Mandal Commission report after the Supreme Court judgment was that this 27% reservation to the OBCs is based on no data at all. I mean, at that time, from 1951 census onwards, the caste enumeration has not taken place. Therefore, the OBC numbers were not available, and therefore the 27% and with 50% cap. Now, if the caste census is done, one immediate impact would be that based on the total numbers of OBCs, the 50% cap can be easily taken out, removed by the Supreme Court by putting both by the central government and opposition now, they are agreeing on this issue. That is one. The second one is the entire caste structure gets into a sociological discourse with proper academic, proper intellectual analysis. And this whole idea that caste is based on purity, impurity will get completely removed.
Okay.
Now, one thing, good thing is that Congress now agreed to really go with electoral manifesto for caste census. Rahul Gandhi has been fighting about it.
Right.
Now that BJP has accepted it and then RSS will come around it, therefore all obstacles for open, equal discourse and reforms to abolish caste will certainly begin once the caste census have done and the data comes out. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Mr. Bansel, caste is a reality in this country. It cannot be wished away. It cannot be, and it should not be ignored because this is about dignity and rights. Why not a caste census then?
See, again, I'm not a politician and I'm not commenting on political issues. There are different political views. I personally, and again, I don't represent the views of any institution as far as this is concerned. I personally feel caste census is a highly divisive exercise. Please remember, pre-independence, when religion was introduced into census, India was divided. The partition demand started once the caste religion census data was released. Today, a large chunk of people in India, especially urban youth, doesn't believe in caste. In fact, most of the people of my age who I meet, their children are marrying across different castes. The urban youth today wants to obliterate caste. Now, this exercise does not obliterate caste. Caste system is an exercise that must be consigned to the dustbins of history. This needs to be eradicated. But by counting them, you are actually reinforcing that identity. You are forcing a youth which doesn't believe in caste to identify himself or herself with a caste. If at all you wish to do a caste census, then please allow the youth to have an option of saying we don't have a caste.
Okay.
That is my purpose. That because today a large chunk of urban youth do not believe, and in fact many in the rural areas as well, do not believe in caste. They would want to move away from this archaic system of caste, which has no scientific basis, which has no sanctity in any religious text, any cultural traits, nothing. This is actually an aberration that has crept into our society and needs to be eradicated lock, stock and barrel. But this can only be eradicated when you allow people to forget about caste, not by asking them what is your caste, what is your caste, what is your caste, what is your caste. To my mind, that is the danger of caste-based census, because it forces those who do not believe in caste also to assume a caste-based identity.
Okay, that's a good point. Professor Eliah, this is something that I've heard very often, but I do believe that if I don't see caste doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, because it could be from, my privilege that I could be viewing things. How do we make people in this country realize that caste is a reality, or like Mr. Bansel is saying, is it also in some ways caste census is also one way of perpetuating caste, which could act against the harmony of the society?
Well, the Telangana caste survey has shown a good way out for such people. When Telangana caste survey a questionnaire was prepared, it contained 54 parameters of economic, social, intercaste marriage, illiteracy, child dropouts, everything. And then some people went to the High Court and say that we want a column, no caste, in the manual that is given to the enumerators while they go to the citizens asking about their details. And the court directed the government to include that. It is included, and several people registered under no caste. Now, that is not the issue. But look at the entire population, 3.5 crore population, the way they registered their caste names and their status. And then now the government is looking at the whole data in order to rework social reform agendas, spiritual reform agendas. For example, no Shudra, no Dalit, though is defined as Hindu, is not allowed to become a priest in the temple, established temples at all. Now, temple entry is allowed, and there is a question about temple entry. There are some who still said we can't enter. Therefore, it is not just one thinking that, we have come out of caste, we are equal everywhere. No. It is caste gradation that also relates to several other economic parameters. Telangana Caste Census have shown that.
Okay.
There is an expert committee which is looking into that.
That's a very important point,
data.
Professor Eliah. Mayank, we were discussing this earlier that sometimes this is not just about reservation, because this is also about opportunities, access. Tell me, the societal impact of an exercise like this, because a lot of people say that many of us don't believe in caste, but because we don't see it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
Yeah. To the observation made by Bansel Sahib, he is saying in urban India, caste does not exist. Let's say if after census exercise, we get to know that there are different localities in urban India, and mind you, till 2011, as per 2011 census, just a third of India's population live in urban area. In urban centers also, there are pockets where upper castes live, and there are pockets which are known as urban underbellies. If census throws up results which shows that urban underbellies are mostly urban underbellies are people of different castes or lower castes.
Okay.
So, which means in urban centers also there is huge geographical discrimination on the basis of caste, and that is a reality. We have to accept that. That is what caste census will tell us if that is the case or not. So we can, just by talking about it, just by having data about it, just by identifying the problem, we don't seem to be accentuating the problem.
Okay.
I don't buy this argument.
Okay, Mr. Bansel, you heard Mr. Mayank also and also Professor Eliah. How do you, because a lot of people in the last 10 years talked about aspirational India, casteless society, especially with Narendra Modi's leadership. Do you feel that
aspirational India has happened after 1990s?
Okay.
And 1990s is the time when recommendations of Mandal Commission were implemented.
So this is in some ways replay of the same sentiment, right? Yes, Mr. Bansel, closing remarks from you, sir.
See, firstly, if you say caste is a reality, there is no question. To my mind, caste is a reality which, if it was a reality, it needs to be eradicated. First point, we need to understand that the whole constitution, even Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar wanted a casteless society. And if we have to create a casteless society, you cannot keep counting people. You can't keep telling people to say, identify yourself with caste. While you can say that High Court gave permission in Telangana to people to write no caste. But unless, of course, a movement takes place where people have, if people are asked, even the children of mixed marriages are forced to identify with one of the castes. Okay. Unfortunately, that's a reality because politics in our country is now being driven by caste-based parties. And that actually derives all the problems and creates problems. People are being forced to choose a caste. I think the whole aim of the government should be to eradicate caste. And to that extent, people must be incentivized who are actually shunning caste, who actually leave caste-based identity should be encouraged rather than encouraging those.
So this is going to be a longer discussion. I will, I promise I'll take this forward some other day. Thank you so much, all of you, or to all my panelists for joining me on this broadcast. Earlier today, I spoke to another ally of the BJP, an important constituent of the NDA. I spoke to Sanjay Jha, who's the working president of the JDU that has 12 MPs. Let's listen in to what his ideas are with respect to the caste census. Bihar was one of the first states, in fact, the first state to conduct a caste survey, also release the data, which is very important in this case. What have been your learnings from that experience? And in that context, how do you see the centre's decision to conduct a nationwide caste census?
Now, we thank the Prime Minister, such a historic decision he has taken. And my leader and my Chief Minister, Nitish Kumar ji, has been raising this issue for long. When he was Member of Parliament also, he raised this issue. And as a Chief Minister also, he has been raising that there should be a caste census. And he met Prime Minister also in 2021. And again, Bihar has done the survey. We are the only state who has done the survey scientifically. We have done the survey and we released the data. And after releasing the data, because it is the census of caste counting also and economic status also, then CM decide that we have to take some affirmative action on the basis of this data. And he has taken those affirmative action with this data. So Bihar is pioneering in this field. And we are very thankful to the Prime Minister, my party, my leader, that he has taken such a historic decision.